247.com. We are coast to coast. We are border to border on iHeartRadio today and also AM/FM. 247.com. Tune in, iTunes, and we have got a great guest to kick off our broadcast. And go ahead and give me a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I go by the name of CYB, and my ministry or music ministry, whatever, is Gospel Beats.
Awesome.
And I've been doing like Christian hip hop type music for probably since 2013.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, how did you get interested in this form of music?
Well, actually, I've been doing like hip hop music since hip hop first came out, which is probably telling my age. But when hip hop first came out, and then later on, I decided to it just I got back into church and everything, and I really didn't like how the hip hop you was hearing was mostly worldly, degrading, the negativity and that sort of thing. So I decided, since I still had the love of, hip hop and making music, I decided to go, start making Christian hip hop type music.
That's great. That's great. So, what's been some of the, I guess, trials and tribulations that you've had with all this so far?
Well, actually, it was a process. I didn't just one day say, hey, I'm gonna do Christian music. It was more of like when my life was changing, my music changed. And one of the first steps was taking curse words out of my lyrics. So
that's great.
That was a challenge because at the time, being secular in the world, every other word or phrase was a cuss word. And when you're taking cuss words out of your lyrics, you have to really put thought into. So you have to actually say something.
Yes.
So that was the first step, and then it kind of navigated over to my everyday speaking, and then then it moved on. Then you went to the conscious rapper type of phase. And then I just got to a point where I just kind of grew, and I'm like, I'm all in. I'm a Christian rapper. I'm a gospel rapper. I'm gonna talk about the things of God. And then I just kind of came all in, and I just kind of been growing ever since.
That's great. That's great. We have got a great guest with us today. CYB joins us here in our broadcast. Now, you not only do music, you're also a producer. Tell me a little bit about this area.
Yeah, so actually, I'm more of a producer than an artist. So that's kind of why I created Gospel Beats, because I'm more of, it's not just about me, it's about other artists, promote other artists. And because there's a lot of Christian, hip hop out there that a lot of people don't know about. And, they may not be mainstream or whatever. So I always liked the producing side of it, I always been a one-man show coming up for the most part. So I had to write, I had to be the artist, I had to be the producer, I had to be the engineer, I had to be, I wore many hats. So, but I just enjoy mostly the putting the song together, the turning of the knobs, the EQs, and I like the production part of it. So even though I have a talent in creating lyrics, I just love the studio vibe of putting the song together.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us here in our broadcast, and CYB is with us. So tell me a little bit about where we can hear your music, where we can get your music, that things like this.
Yeah, so gospelbeats.com is my actual website, and you just go on the music and you will find all my music. I have 5 albums out.
Wow.
Currently, and I'm working on my 6th album. And also it's available at, all streaming platforms, CYB. But you have to put Gospel Beats behind CYB, and all my music should come up. There's a couple other artists that has the same name, but you put CYB Gospel Beats, all my music come up iTunes, Spotify. Also, I'm on Instagram at CYB underscore Gospel Beats.
Fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us here on our big program. So tell us about this incredible track, Today We Ready. We're going to play that here in a few moments.
Awesome. So Today We Ready actually was a song that I believe God gave me in a dream, because the chorus was playing in my head in the dream over and over. And I woke up and I heard the chorus. So I got with, some other producers that, hey, could you make a beat to this chorus? And they put together, a beat and had and created a whole song from it. And Today We Read it just basically, because being a producer at heart, and I never really put myself out there. I always like to be in the background. So Today We Read is more inspiration of putting myself out there and putting myself in the forefront. And so it's like today, we read it. Today I'm ready to put myself out there to the world and, express myself to the world.
Awesome. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to put you on a brief hold here on Skype, and we're going to play this track. And when we come back, we have got more coming up. Back here with CYB Gospel Beats, and he joins us here on our big program. So tell us about some of your different musical heroes and influences.
Well, one of the people that really that inspired me was, probably obvious, Lecrae, as one of the biggest Christian hip hop artists, because at the time, when I started the journey of, becoming a Christian artist, it wasn't really any mainstream Christian artists that had that production, that quality level, or that commercial sound. And when I was introduced to Lecrae music, I was blown away, because you couldn't tell the difference between, that song and a Christian song if you didn't listen to the lyrics. Any other, secular song, but, it had the same vibe, same flow, but it just, it had different lyrics.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So,
CYB.
When I heard that, yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just gonna wrap it up and say, so that was like, okay, I want to make music like that, to sound that good and speak about God.
Fantastic. It is a great guest with us today. CYB is with us here on our big program. So what are some of your goals this year as far as your music and things of that nature?
So right now I'm just pumping out in social media, which is the Instagram, all the music I have put out so far. And eventually, I'm working on a new album, and it's pretty much 85% done. And once I put out, promoting all my music, and then I'm going to end up dropping my latest album. And I'm thinking it may be Ministry Over Music, but that title could change. But in this last project, I have multiple features. Like, almost every song is a feature of a talented, Christian artist that's going to be featuring. So it's going to be more than just about me. It's going to be about a whole Christian hip hop, album type of movement, so you can hear various artists on this album.
Fantastic. CYB with us today. Joins us live here on AMFM247.com. So what's been some feedback you've been getting on your music so far?
Yeah, it's been all love, and it's new to everybody, even though for me, I had, it's kind of old to me, but it's new to everybody else. But yeah, so far, I've been getting all positive reactions. So I'm happy about that.
That's great. That's great. CYB with us today. So this album that you've got here, we've been playing some music from it. What are some of your goals for this album?
So yeah, again, just one of the things that's going to be different is the many features I have on it. I have a lot of like amazing artists that you may even heard in the Christian hip hop arena, and also this album is very close to scriptures, and that's one of the things that I wanted to do as well, is to really bring God's word into this album, because when you listen to secular songs over and over, you memorize the chorus, and just by hearing the song over and over, and it's like, but normally it's not something that can benefit your life. So I figure if you can memorize the chorus of some scriptures or of God's word, that can feed into your life, that'll be, can enhance people spiritually by just listening to this album.
Fantastic. So CYB is with us here on our big broadcast. He joins us live here on AMFM247.com. So besides your music and producing, what other things are you into?
Well, actually, my 9 to 5 is web development. So I'm a software engineer.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a tech guy. So it's kind of crazy because when, before everything went to digital, I was into like the hardware, the analog, and it was a struggle converting to, making music on a computer. But, once I did, convert over to the computer, it was like, wow, everything became accessible, as far as producing, versus producing, in the box versus, the big boards and everything like that. So it kind of, coincide with my technology side of web development.
That's fantastic. So there is another song out there we are gonna attempt to play here. He's Good. Tell us a little bit about this track.
Oh wow! So this track again has a couple features on there, and it's an artist. The female artist on there is actually my wife, and she's doing material as well. She's the encouragers, but He's Good is just talking about glorifying God, and it's more of a gospel beats type song with gospel beats members on there, and just kind of talking about how God is good.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to do this. We're going to put you on a brief hold, and we are going to attempt to get this played here on our program. So we will be back here in just a few. CYB Gospel Beats with us here on our big program. So with all this going on, what's been the response on your social media and everything?
Yeah, the social media is doing pretty good at the moment. It's like people are receiving it. And, a lot of my friends are kind of like, oh, wow, this is his first time, putting his music out there, or like being the face behind the music. And, so I'm getting a lot of love and support.
That's awesome. It is CYB Gospel Beats. He's with us today here on our big program, coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio and also AMFM247.com. So if people want to buy your music or get involved with what you're doing, how do they do that exactly?
Yeah, just go to gospelbeats.com, and, it has a contact form. You just hit contact. Or, again, you go to the music link, and you can, have a preview of all my music, and also all streaming platforms. Put in CYB Gospel Beats, and it should come up, iTunes, Spotify, and also in Instagram, CYB_Gospel Beats, if you want to just, listen to, me pretty much rap a lot of my songs live.
That's awesome. So you've been able to do a lot of different things with your music. You've been getting a lot of good things going on out there. Tell me about your YouTube activity. What do you do over there on YouTube? So
yeah, YouTube is a different animal. I don't as of now, I don't have a lot of videos, music videos on YouTube. I do a lot of stuff on YouTube versus tutorials. I do some, type of music tutorials. I do website tutorials. I do have some music videos on there. It's kind of like a mixture of like my title goes God, music, tech. So I have a lot of variety, different stuff on there. So, and I think that's CYB Gospel Beats as well, my YouTube channel, I believe.
Fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. Joins us live here on our big program, Gospel Beats. So you do. I have watched a little bit of your Pro Tools explainer videos and things. Tell me a little bit about these and what you do with those.
Yeah. So a lot of times, people who's making music like I do, they may want to know some quick tips on how to, get their music, or edit their music in Pro Tools, or do little shortcuts in Pro Tools to kind of like, streamline their production process. So I have like tutorials on that. And really my goal too is really for my YouTube channel to be like a channel to help people and educate people, and who kind of like in the same boat I am, where they have to learn, or they want to learn something real quick, or they want to accelerate in their producing or production process.
That's great. That's great. So you said you were a computer engineer. When did you start getting into the IT world and computers and things?
I think it was back in probably like 2010, where I decided to go to school for computers and get a degree in IT. And I started out as a IT support, and then eventually I got into the software space which was more where you can be creative when you create like websites and applications.
Awesome. So how have you been able to do that with all your music endeavors and everything?
Yeah, it's a balance. And of course the IT or the software side is my 9 to 5. But when it comes to passion and fun and enjoyment is when I go in the studio and start creating music and
That's
creating
great.
songs.
So take me through the process of creating music.
Okay, so it's different ways. It's so many different ways to do it. And you kind of want to don't use the same road for every song, because you don't want every song to sound the same. You want every song to be different. So sometimes you may write it first. Sometimes, I write it first. Sometimes if I hear a hook, I start with the hook. Sometimes if I hear a beat and I really like a beat, then I create lyrics to the beat. Sometimes, I create a beat. Sometimes I outsource, the beat from, other producers. And it's more of a gut in my ear. So if I'm making a song and I'm like, oh, this song would sound much better if I had a feature on here, or it would sound much better if I had a singer, or this song is really lacking something. I probably could add, maybe this type of chorus. So, I take each song differently, and I don't really have like a one process. Every song is kind of is inspired by different things, there's happen to be going on at the time in the production process.
Fantastic. So you working with some different artists, who are some of the different artists that you've worked with over your time?
So, man, a lot. So one, I'm working with an artist named Kamazi, and another artist, Seagulls. another artist, Craig, Tammy Johnson, Dakari, and Precious Love. And those just a few of the many artists that's going to be that I can think of off the top of my head that's going to be on this upcoming album, and also that I worked with in the past as well. Also, part of the team is let's see, RL Enterprise Music, and let me think. This is so many artists. It's kind of hard to
Well,
remember
hey,
all of them.
that's awesome. You've got all that going. So, where do you get most of your interactions on social media? Is it Instagram? Is it Twitter? Kind of break that down for us.
Yeah, so right now most of them is Instagram. I do post on Facebook in the Facebook groups, the Christian hip hop Facebook groups. It's probably about 5 or 6 of them. So every now and then I post like a video in one of those channels, and normally I get, positive feedback and, and everything. So yeah, those are like my main channels as of now is Instagram and then Facebook groups.
Awesome. Well, we have got a great guest with us today. CYB Gospel Beats is with us here on our big broadcast. So, where do you see this album going for you? What is some of the plans?
Yeah, I think this album is going to be the best one yet. It's a lot of thought and energy put behind it. I really think it's going to do very, very well, and it's going to bless a lot of people. And most of my music most of the time are very diverse. Every song is different. So if you may not like one song, you may like another song because, they're so different. And I do that on purpose because, again, because my inspiration comes different based on the individual song. So I really feel like it's going to bless a lot of people. And, because this has been years of a lot of learning, improving, and growing spiritually. So I really think this album is going to be going to bless a lot of people.
We have got CYB Gospel Beats with us today here on our big broadcast, and our next guest is going to join us here in just a few. So, what is the plan as far as music? Are you planning on doing this album and then releasing more music? Give us a guide here.
Yeah, so it's as the opportunities come, I may put out more music later, but as of now, after the release of my album, I'm going to be pushing, other artists under gospel beats, and one of them is Encourages, which she has a single out now called My Light, but we're going to push her EP and whatever artists that are under us that we're going to push out under the gospel beats name. That's going to be what we're going to focus on forward. But at the same time, if the demand's there for me to do another album, right after this, then I'll get back in the studio.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you're out there making music and you're doing all the various things that you're doing. What is the plan with the music producing? Do you have any new projects coming your way? Anything like that?
Yeah, the only project I have is currently, other than mine, put mine to the side for a second, is the Encourages album, which is probably going to be maybe an EP, and we're going to push that one right after mine.
Fantastic. Well, I would love once you guys get some things going with this new album and everything, would love to have you back and continue the chat with us here.
Awesome. Yeah. Just let me know. And definitely would love to come back and chat again.
So CYB Gospel Beats with us today here on our big broadcast. He joins us here on iHeartRadio and also AMFM 247.com. And what is some of the different messages that you try to get out there in your music?
Well, one of the messages was, like, I think it's very powerful to memorize scriptures. So I have one song in particular where one of my verses, or maybe two, a couple verses, where I'm just basically rapping scriptures.
Yeah.
And I think it's unique because I never heard it. I don't remember, to my knowledge, anybody ever doing that before. So I figured if you memorize this song, and you memorize my lyrics, you will memorize like verses in the Bible, because so that's very unique about this this album. It has a lot of scriptures in it, and which is intentional. So that's one of the highlights of this album. You're going to get a lot of God's word in this album.
Fantastic. CYB Gospel Beats with us today here on our big broadcast. He joins us live coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio today. And we are going to take a brief time out here with CYB, and we're going to place you on a brief hold here, my friend. And we are going to do this with him, then we're going to get to our next guest. So CYB, before we let you go, how do people find you on social media, the websites, buy your music, do everything? How do they do that, my friend?
First, you can go to gospelbeats.com.
Okay.
And you click on music, and you should see all of my music. You can go, play snippets of the tracks. You can buy from there. Also, you can go to any streaming service like iTunes, Spotify, and you can just type in CYB Gospel Beats, and my music should come up. And make sure you type CYB Gospel Beats, because there's a couple other artists.
There are a lot of CYB. Yeah, you need to put that out there. But brother, this has been fun. We're going to get to our next guest, but thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate